Welcome back to Established Dominance Fantasy Football. Tonight we're going to preview the Sunday games and help you make some key decisions in your lineups. And remember to monitor and follow us on X at Established Dominance for injury updates prior to each game. Here's a quick injury review from Saturday. Brian Robinson Jr. is out. Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown are in. Pittman, we're still waiting for Sunday morning confirmation. Rachaad White, he's doubtful. He's a game time decision. Singletary is out. Mixon plans to play, and Pierce will play. Ingram plans to play. James Cook plans to play. Myers is doubtful. Edwards was put on IR. Warren will be healthy. Rattler is going to start for Derek Carr. Good luck with that. Neighbors is out. O'Connell will start. Adams is still out. And now, of course, we have Myers with a problem, so not a whole lot of upside there. Stevenson is out, so Gibson gets the start. Shakir is out. JT is out. And Richardson is a game time decision. More on that later. Okay, let's look at the Sunday games. Okay, we'll start off with the Jags versus the Bears. That's the first game of the morning in jolly good London. Jags love to play there. It's kind of a home crowd for them. Now, Chicago gives up a lot on the ground, but they force a lot of turnovers. So, with Etienne healthy and Bigsby coming on strong, I think they're both decent good plays. Figure 10 plus PPR apiece. The Jags defense on the flip side is horrible. All the skill players for Chicago should be started. Ingram, it's his first game in a while. It's tough to start him here, but if you have no other options, go for it. All right, then there's the Cards versus Green Bay. So Arizona, they're susceptible to the run. They should give Jacobs a good day, as long as Wilson doesn't vulture a touchdown. Green Bay is susceptible to wide receiver ones, so I suspect Harrison will have a good day as well. Reed is an auto play for Green Bay, but watch out for Watson's game status. He's questionable right now, but if he plays, then Wicks becomes a bench candidate. The Colts versus the Titans. The key to this game is Richardson's availability. If he plays, then downgrade Pittman. But if he doesn't play, upgrade Pittman and upgrade Pierce, regardless of the starting quarterback. Flacco gives them the best chance to win, but they want the young kid to play. The Titans are susceptible to premium runners, but the backups in Indianapolis, because JT is out, they're not really premium runners. So Sermon and Goodson, they might have okay days, but they won't have a huge day. On the flip side, Colts give a lot up on the ground. Pollard should have a big day if they lean on him. The only thing holding him back is the return of Will Levis, the turnover machine. Now, the coaches are probably going to give Levis a running touchdown, and they may even vulture Pollard, just so he doesn't cry on the bench. Texans versus the Patriots. Now, the Patriots, they're susceptible to the run, but there's a lot of question marks at the running back position for the Texans based on injuries. Is it Mixon? Is it Pierce? Akers? Ogunbowale? I think it's like a peanut butter spread type of situation. No one really has a good day. But if I were to bet, I think Ogunbowale with his catching ability is awesome if Mixon doesn't play. If Mixon plays, jury's out. Diggs is obviously going to have a great day here with Collins out. Dell may actually see a couple of extra targets as well. I know there's the Hutchinson kid out there, but I don't put any stock in that. Now, May is going to start for New England. He's got good escapability. I think he has a rushing touchdown, and he also forces Polk the ball a lot. In deeper leagues or best ball, I think Polk has a touchdown here, but I'm not sure I would start him. Not until I see the chemistry between the two. The Texans aren't exactly a shutdown defense, so expect Gibson to get 15 to 20 touches. If New England is smart, he could also grab a TD too, just in case May doesn't vulture at all. He's a must start in this case. Let's talk Bucs versus the Saints. Now, the big news here is Rattler will start, so everyone gets a downgrade on the entire team except for Kamara. The worst downgrade, though, is to Shaheed, and he's the deep threat. I'm not sure that Rattler has any rapport with him. I'm not sure he can get him the ball or has the accuracy. I mean, he doesn't have any game time during the year, so I think he's going to look to Olave as his first look. That's his best chance to be relevant, and the Bucs defense isn't exactly great in the secondary, so I think Olave can get open, and that should be Rattler's first look every time. Kamara, he's going to get plenty of dump-off passes, something safe to give the quarterback confidence. He'll get plenty of rushing opportunities. He should have a great game. And the Bucs will still face a tough division foe here. These games get usually really chippy, nasty, fights break out. I expect Evans to score just because of the bad blood on these teams. And if Rachaad White doesn't play, he's doubtful right now, then Bucky Irving will get 15 to 20 touches. Now, thankfully, it's an early game, so we'll know White's status to give you time to maneuver tomorrow if you need to. Let's talk the Browns versus the Eagles. Watson's going to start. He's going to fail miserably again. The Eagles defense is a must start here. Hurts gets both of his top receivers back, so Goddard's going to take a back seat. AJ should roll if he's indeed healthy. I hope he is. All the skill players are a start except for Goddard, in my opinion. But if you don't have any other options, you don't have options. I also like Cooper to have a decent day here. I don't necessarily think he gets a touchdown, but I think Watson ends up getting pulled in this game. Winston comes in, forces the ball to Cooper. I could see Cooper with a touchdown in garbage time. Washington versus Baltimore. Daniels is going to feel a lot of pressure, but Baltimore is weak against speedy receivers with great hands, and McLaurin is that guy. So I think McLaurin still has a nice day, probably catches a touchdown. The biggest question is Eckler or McNichols, because Brian Robinson is out. Now, McNichols could see earlier work, but Eckler is a better pass catching back. So as long as the game isn't out of hand, I could see both of them getting 15 touches each. But if it gets out of hand and Washington gets behind, I think Eckler plays more because he's the better pass catching back. Now, Henry should have a big game, but there's really no pass catcher that I can honestly depend on to start for the Ravens. It's just whose week is it going to be? I think from a red zone perspective, though, likely should see a lot more looks. He'll probably get another touchdown. As we know, Jackson loves to throw to the tight ends. All right, let's talk Chargers versus Denver. There's two elite defenses going up against each other. It's in Denver. It's got the lowest over-under in Vegas at 35.5. So who's going to get a touchdown? I think it's going to be Nix on a scramble and McConkey on some sort of shallow cross. And then it'll be a bunch of field goals. Dobbins is going to have a rough day. He's a start, okay? I wouldn't not start him, but I'd feel very lucky if he got a touchdown here. Surtain is going to shut down anyone he's against. He'll probably line up against Johnston, sometimes against McConkey. They'll try to work it, but I think Johnston is unstartable here. He should be benched. Denver's weak against tight ends this year, but the Chargers don't really have an elite tight end that can do well against them. So would I start a tight end against Denver? Normally, yes, but the Chargers don't have one of those kind of elite tight ends. Now, you're definitely starting both defenses, but the rest of the skill players is kind of sketch. Pittsburgh versus Las Vegas. Pittsburgh has decided to roll with Fields. If he can't beat Vegas, he's done. Now, Warren's going to play and eat into Harris's touches. So Harris usually gets about 15 to 20 touches. Warren's going to eat into that. I don't think they both get more just because Fields doesn't run an efficient offense. And after his first look, he takes off anyway. So I don't really see them getting extra touches because Warren is back. Now, Najee's number is going to drop a little bit, but Fields, he hurts the entire team. We'll see if Pickens' temper tantrums turn into targets. Say that 5 times fast. Freiermuth, he's got almost as many catches as Pickens, which rubs salt in the wound. Now, Vegas, they're a chocolatey mess. If Myers gets ruled out, it's Trey Tucker and Bowers. There's your only 2 pass catchers. Pittsburgh is definitely going to double and key in on Bowers, who's a volume-based start. I wouldn't not start him, but I think Pittsburgh roughs him up. White is out, so it's Madison and Abdullah who get to duke it out for the king of the mediocre. This is the second lowest over-under in Vegas this week, so who's going to get the touchdown? I think it's going to be Fields running one in, Freiermuth catching one, and I could see Vegas getting a defensive sack fumble touchdown from Crosby, but they're going to struggle on offense, and O'Connell is starting this game. In the Atlanta versus Carolina game, Cousins, I think he has a regression game. It's written all over him. He's not going to get 53 points again and 509 passing. That's not going to happen. He's away this time. Bijan's off the injury wire. It sets up nicely for him to score here. Atlanta's skill players should have a nice day, and their defense should also do well. The Panthers get Leggett back, but D. Johnson is questionable. It's an afternoon game, so hopefully you have some options just in case they pull him. Was Dalton a one-hit wonder? I guess we'll find out. Cincinnati versus the Giants. This sets up as a shootout. The Giants are really tough against the run, so I think Moss and Chase Brown are going to have difficulty on the ground, but Chase is probably going to catch a bunch of balls, so he's still, from a PPR perspective, going to be a good play. Both teams should do very well in the pass game. I expect big numbers from Slayton Robinson and Chase Higgins. Sleeper, to me, is Theo Johnson, the tight end for the Giants. Cincy is horrible against tight ends if you look at every single game. And quarterbacks like people who catch everything that comes their way. And Theo Johnson went 5 for 5 last week, so I think he has a chance. Singletary, he's out. Tracy's probably going to get another 100-plus scrimmage yards. I think he has a great game. Hopefully you picked him up. Now, again, this game should be a shootout. It's not a great defensive start for your lineup, so I wouldn't start either of these defenses. All right, quickly on Monday Night Football, Bills versus Jets. Cook's status is still up in the air, but he says he's going to play, and I think he will. If he says so, he's probably going to play. But the Bills are going to struggle in the run against the Jets. If Cook doesn't play, I don't think Ray Davis matters either. I don't think Ray Davis would be a start in that case. You're going to have to wait until Monday for his update status, but he says he's going to play, so I'll believe him when he says it. Josh Allen, he's going to struggle, but he's probably going to run enough and score a touchdown using his legs to make him, at least statistically decent. The Jets are running with a new coach. What's he going to do? Well, if he learns from the past, if he feeds Hall like 20 times and doesn't do some sort of stupid timeshare, I think Hall has a big game and they score touchdowns. Hopefully he's smart enough to recognize that. Now the Bills, they struggle in coverage against the slot receiver. So I think Lazard is a good bet for another touchdown here. Okay, there's the Week 6 preview. I hope this helps you make some tough decisions for the week. And if you're on the fence, go with your gut, like I always say. Now, before we sign off, I want to give a shout out to our men and women in uniform who protect the freedoms we hold dear. Thank you for your service and sacrifice. And finally, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and follow us on X, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts so you can stay up to date on our latest content. And until then, remember, established dominance isn't just a catchphrase, it's a commitment. Are you ready?